No. All right. Today, one of the things we're going to talk about, the main thing is perfectionism. Because we have discovered that perfectionism sucks.
Like, that's common knowledge. We
Yes.
really have
But we really have, yes, we have a lot of, especially whenever it comes to publishing books, social media, and presenting yourself online, personal branding, like absolutely everything. And that's half of the thing with our Bucket publishing company, and that is Bucket with a PH. So everybody knows. Okay, so perfectionism. The first thing is, okay, this show, like we don't have, everything, like our sound quality is not that great. We don't have like a great recording thing, whatever. If we were worried about perfectionism, we would not be doing this show.
Exactly, so we're waiting for sound quality.
Because we had already put it off. We've been wanting to do this show for like, what, a year or two?
At least.
And like that we started talking about it and stuff, and we were gonna do it, and we kept putting it off and kept putting it off because, oh, well, we don't have this, we don't have that, and we blah, 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 on and on and on. So perfectionism, one thing it leads to is procrastination.
Yes.
Like major procrastination. If you wait until you are ready to do something, you will never do it.
Actually, I think perfectionism leads to more procrastination than like anything else. And it also leads to writer's block in one form.
Yes.
That's the writer's block where you just don't feel like writing because it's not going to be perfect.
Or you're worried about your writing quality when you're like, oh, I'm not a great writer.
I can't do this. So that's perfectionism based writer's block.
Yes.
And the only way to overcome that is to go fuck it and write it anyway.
Exactly. And okay, so perfectionism leads to personal resentment. You end up getting angry with yourself because you end up putting things off and not doing them, all because of, in the name of perfectionism. And whether or not you realize it too, because it's like, you might not, you're not necessarily using that word, but you're like, well, this has to be right. Or, we use all kind of different words to define perfectionism. And that's really what it is. And it also leads to like, low self-esteem. Yes.
Part of self-resentment
and you get angry about things.
You get nothing done
and
ever.
Like little things, if they, it's like little things aren't working right, or this isn't just right, or whatever, continually, like then you get mad about it. Well, I think that one of the big things about that is it's like, well, just move past it, just do the work, get it done. Like editing a book. Okay, here's an example. How many times do we have to edit a book for it to be perfect?
Well, that could be infinity times.
Exactly. It will never get done if we're continually editing every single little flaw in it.
And by the time you take all the flaws out, you've also taken out the whole character of the story.
Sometimes. I mean, it depends.
Sometimes
if you're talking about the storyline, I'm talking about just editing a book in general.
Yeah, like the typos and stuff.
Yeah, typos and things
editing
like that.
In general. I'm talking about like if you're like line editing and you fix every single
that's
phrase.
That's a whole nother ballgame. Whenever you're talking about perfectionism in the actual story, that can go on literally forever, and you will never get it right, and it is never good enough if you're worried about it always being perfect. It will never get published. You'll never get done. I'm talking about just even like, books that are published. Okay. The majority of books that are published, and I looked up the statistics, the majority of books that are published by major publishers and by anybody else, the typos and spelling mistakes and grammatical errors are usually about 5 to 10 in the first publishing of a book. And that's normal. It's to be expected. It's not like a big deal. And that's one of the things we were talking about before, like about people worrying about like all this stuff in their books, like then like the Chalmers is what I keep thinking about, and a wooden stove. And a wooden stove and things like that we had talked about in a previous video. It's like, yes, you are going to see errors, and this is in major publishing company books too.
Like HarperCollins.
Yes, exactly.
Chalmers
I don't
publishing
remember
company
either.
was, but it was something bigger,
Yeah,
like not
major
just some small
publishing
town
houses.
press.
Yeah, exactly. So that we strive to do our best. See, there's a difference between striving to do your best and presenting your best work.
Yeah.
Always presenting your best work and doing your best.
Yeah.
And having to have everything be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's a really frustrating thing. It is a waste of time, a waste of money in a lot of cases, because time is money, if nothing else. Because, you know, say, you know, you pay somebody to do something, and you either say, okay, that's great, it was good enough, you know,
You did
whatever,
your best.
you did a great job, and I'm happy with it. You either can do that, or you're like, this is off by like half a centimeter, and you have to redo it.
Or it's not getting the exact results that I wanted.
Yes, exactly. So we have to redo it, redo it, redo it, redo it, redo it, redo it.
Yeah.
And that can get a little bit frustrating for both the person that you're working with and for you, because then you're constantly looking for it to be perfect every freaking time, and it's on and on and on and endless, and it's a cause of major frustration. It can put things off by months.
Yeah.
Or even years. So Elsa has a really good example of what can happen, the results of what can happen whenever you look past perfectionism. When you say, you know what, something messed up, there was obviously a reason for that mistake or something. So let's just go with the mistake instead of dwelling on it.
This painting here, I spilled water all across the face when I was 2 months into painting it. And the whole thing was just a big dark smear across it. And I was gonna throw it away and not finish it. But I decided to just, I already worked on it for 2 months. So I decided to just just keep painting, and it turned out.
Yeah,
It turned out a lot better.
I think it turned out better than it was
would have.
originally.
Yeah.
And see, that's a perfect example. And yes, I mean, with artwork, it's a little bit easier to do that sometimes, but that's like such a good example because you put 2 months into it.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months. If you would have gotten mad and thrown it away,
That would have been a huge.
that would have been a waste of time, a waste of effort.
Yeah.
And instead you took it and you made something even better out of it.
Mhm.
And see, I think that it's the same with writing. There's actually, we've talked about, you write, say, okay, here's a good example.
Right.
You write something out, like with a book, you have a file and you're typing it out, and you have this, pages upon pages of this wonderful story, and you're like going on and on and on and on, and you're like, this is awesome. And then you spill coffee on your computer.
Yeah, I know, right? That's like,
Yes.
what the fuck?
Exactly.
And then like your entire computer just like shuts down, deletes your work. You can't ever get it to start again. It's like,
Yes.
great, what do you know? I'm back at square 1.5.
Yep. And the file is gone, the story's gone, everything about it is gone. So what do you do?
Well, I think in that case, you get yourself a notepad and a pencil, and you start the story from page 1. And it turns out even better than that file you just lost.
Exactly.
Because there are no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Yes.
In the words of the immortal Bob Ross.
Yeah, the immortal Bob Ross. Exactly. So that is a major thing. I mean, and of course she is speaking from experience here.
Yeah.
Our one author, he wrote, a big outline for a story and wrote, I don't know if he wrote the whole thing or the majority of it or whatever, but then he just got upset and he threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I'm glad I threw it away because now I'm rewriting it and it's better. It's like 100 times better.
I did that with some
Then the
poems.
one I
I
threw
ended up,
away.
I'm like, I'm just gonna throw this away because I'm not doing anything with them. And now I'm like, I wish I had those poems still. So I try to remember lines from them, and what I end up writing down turns out better.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that is one of the things, whenever you can ditch the perfectionism, you get, better results.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
we'll say at least,
instantly better. So.
yeah, it's sometimes it is instantly better.
Mhm.
The way I see it, okay, a lot of times, whenever something like that happens, there's actually a reason for it. I really do believe that. I mean, and that's just my universal,
Yeah.
belief. I believe
Well-
that if you spend time writing something out and especially like with a story or whatever like that, or even like, I mean, a lot of different things.
Mhm.
But you spend the time and you put all this work into it. And if something happens to it, maybe there's just like one line in there that is really bad and doesn't belong and it needs changed.
Yeah, maybe
So
like
something
you
happens, whether it's, you lose it, you spill coffee on it or whatever, and you have to
water
redo
dumps
it.
all over it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you end up redoing it and then it ends up being better.
Shifts it.
It's, yes, exactly. It's almost like an intentional shift.
Yeah.
And
Like
it's,
the universe is like, hey, by the way,
yeah, hey, let's switch this.
we're gonna flip this a bit.
Yeah, and people look at that in a way that, like whenever something like that happens, a lot of people, it creates anxiety. You get like agitated and you feel pressured and
Yeah.
like all
It's
kinds of
like-
things. And those are negative emotions.
Yeah.
And those are not something that we should be focusing on. I mean, if we're
No.
gonna talk about like,
I mean-
positivity and negativity,
If you lose something, you're bound to be frustrated or a little upset, right? You're
yeah,
gonna be like, what? How did that just happen like that?
right,
But at the same time, you need to move past that and not dwell on it and be like, but that was so perfect, or I worked so hard on it.
yeah,
You need to move past it and be like, okay, I'm gonna do more work, do better, start over again,
exactly.
whatever. Create something out of this that is
Yes.
better than before.
Exactly. And also, one of the things that happens too, whenever you learn to move past that, like for example, with this picture here, like I was really proud of you for like not getting, really mad and upset and tearing it up and throwing it away. Because to me, what I was proud of you for had nothing to do with the picture. What I was proud of you was because of, I thought that showed real character. That was like a really positive thing. That was like, look, she's, really learning
Yeah.
something. And I thought that was just awesome. I mean, I really
Yeah.
do.
That
That shows your character
Yeah.
whenever you are capable of moving past things like that.
and that's worth even more than the painting.
And that's more valuable if nothing else. Yeah, exactly. It's way better than the picture, and the picture is wonderful.
That's why I titled this one. I titled it Trust, because trusting the process here. Like
Yeah, there's
Brilliant.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. Yes. And also like, okay, so on social media too, people like I did, okay, the one tweet I made, I misspelled I used the misspelling of the writing community hashtag. And instead of like going and deleting the tweet and then, redoing it, what I did was I just quote retweeted it and I'm like, wow, look what an idiot I am. And actually I got more engagement on my, look what an idiot I am, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
and making a joke out of it and, laughing at myself.
Yeah.
I got more engagement out of that tweet than I did from the original tweet.
Yeah.
Because one of the things it shows is it shows your character. It shows, hey, you're a real person. It's transparency. And so having mistakes in your tweets and, or, in social media and, on your stuff, it's like, well, hey, guess what? We're all human.
Exactly.
I mean, that's really what it all boils down to. We are all human beings. We all have flaws. We all make mistakes. And so that can be like something that's super encouraging to somebody else too.
Yeah.
Because if you're presenting yourself as being constantly perfect,
Then
what is that? Somebody else who is maybe struggling,
Yeah, they're not gonna.
they're gonna look at you and they're gonna feel worse about themselves.
Yeah. And if you just go like, hey, I'm human too, I messed some stuff up. It
Yeah,
happens, but
especially
I move past it.
exactly. Like,
And
I'm
it's
in my like my Twitter account and stuff like that. Like I do a lot of people come to me and ask like for advice and stuff like that, or they'll, so if I'm constantly presenting myself as, being perfect, why would they want to come to me? Why,
exactly. They'd
it's,
be like, oh, you're just perfect. So
yeah,
whatever you do is
exactly.
perfect. And you can't teach me how to be perfect because I'm just a sucky human being.
exactly. And that's where yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And that is not fair to other people
Exactly.
to constantly be perfect in what you do. Like
Yeah,
they're
like,
it's
no,
not
you should be good at
fair.
your job, you should be good at what you do,
Yes,
but
it's
you
you
need
should
to-
do your best, and you should, you know, like always put your best foot forward and always do your best and do your best work.
Yeah.
But it is okay to show mistakes. It is
Mm-hmm.
okay to, even if you're like rushing through something and you're like, okay, oops, you know, doing that oops.
Yeah.
It's like, so sometimes, you know, it builds humility.
Mhm.
It and it shows other people that, you know, there can be human too.
Yeah,
And it's encouraging
It's
for them
encouraging,
to do more work,
inspiring.
and yeah, inspiring. So I mean, it's just a little, you know, part of it too. But anyways,
it's like whenever new people come into work and now I have to train them, I'm like, I mean, when I started, I did it like this, and then I ended up doing it like that. And I'm like, see?
yeah, and you've got like a big huge mess. But then the people that you're showing, then they're like, okay,
And then
kind
they
of
laugh
cool,
about it
and then they
too.
laugh, and then they're,
And then we both learn how to do it better.
and but it also, it relaxes them.
That too.
They're more relaxed, and then whenever people are more relaxed, they do a better job.
Yeah.
That's also
Because-
something that's major, like
Well, if you're stressed out, striving to be perfect. you're
anxiety and stress. Is one of the biggest things with anxiety and stress is the pressure of perfectionism. That is so, it's negative.
It is.
Perfectionism is a negative thing.
Mhm.
It is not something that we should, you know, strive for.
No,
Like,
it's not
perfectionism
doing
is
your
not-
best. It's not.
No, perfectionism is not doing your best. No, because it's like a negative thing. Yes, because it causes too much other stuff.
Yeah, I think doing your best involves accepting the worst.
Yes, and okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I can't even tell you, like, especially in the past like year or so, there's so many things that I have done where I have just like messed up so bad. And I think that's all been like huge lessons to me on the fact that, you know what, fuck it, I am not perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, my hair might always be perfect, but I am not perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between being flawless and like perfectionism. Just teasing. Okay, well, there's
Yeah.
a joke behind that. My hair,
Yeah, she's just like,
I
I never have to brush it.
I never brush my hair, and I don't. So like I wash my hair, I condition it, and I comb it through while it's wet, and then like I'll put it in a bun or something, and then like we'll get ready to go somewhere or like do the show or whatever, and all I do is like I drop the bun, and I'm just like ta-da,
And then it's like that.
and yeah, everybody teases me because it's just like this boom, you know, and it's just the way that it's like I pre-style it. I guess so you could, you know, put it in the bun and stuff like that. So, and it dries that way. So
And like,
yeah.
if I do the same thing,
It's
my hair's like this.
because your hair is
Yes.
different.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's the way that my hair is. Like,
See, what always happens to me is if I put my hair in a bun, then it's still wet and it won't dry.
yeah, mine will. Well, okay, mine doesn't always dry.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I have to like take it out of the bun, let it half dry, and then put it back in the bun again. Like so, I did that
Yeah,
actually
just
this
a
morning.
styling
So
trick.
yeah, it's a little trick. Or like I'll go out and sit in the sun, and
See
you know make
how-
sure it dries.
See how helpful this show is. We're giving hairstyling tips.
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
but
This is really, the writer's hub here, hairstyle
Oh, yeah.
tips, jokes on writing,
yeah, absolutely.
and then some maybe useful information.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah,
hairstyles are
hopefully there
very-
is some
that's
useful
useful.
information.
What if somebody's having trouble with the hair and they're too busy waiting
Yeah.
to think about it? and
Well, that's actually how I started doing my hair like this. I have 6 children.
Exactly.
I have 6 children.
She had no time for
I-
like curling irons.
No, I was homeschooling them. So like I would spend the whole entire first part of my day was in teaching kids, and then the whole second part of my day was in working.
Mhm.
And like I didn't have time for anything else. I didn't have time to do my hair and stuff like that. And quite frankly, I don't really care either.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah.
But but I did start doing stuff to where I can just like do it quickly, and that was it's really really simple. And I can still have, you know, long hair and then I can just put it up or do whatever.
Mhm.
But anyway, the whole entire thing is fuck it.
Yes.
That's the point.
With a PH.
With a PH. Fuck it with a PH. Like everything. Like, okay, Twitter, like you're going on Twitter, you're engaging with people. We talked about that in our last show, and you don't have to be perfect. When you're writing a book, you do not have to worry about being perfect.
Exactly.
You know, book covers and things like that, they can be, you know, you can redo them and, you know, get them to where you want them to be, but don't worry about them being perfect.
Yeah.
Don't worry about everything being perfect. Artwork, whenever you're doing your artwork, don't worry about it being perfect. Whenever you're doing a video, don't worry about being perfect. Holy crap, you will never get it done.
Exactly.
You will.
That's what
Yeah,
makes
we
art
wouldn't have
anyway.
posted any of these videos.
No, holy crap.
That's what makes art anyway. It's a series of imperfections.
Yes, that's what art is.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is writing is art.
Mhm.
Well, that's with music, with like painting and drawing and things like that. And with writing, it is all the same thing. I mean, one of the things people look at too, I know that this is like an issue, is like, okay, writing is, there's all, you know, the grammatical rules, you know, there's all these rules. Well, take the rules and fuck it. No rules. Learn.
No rules.
Yes, they're guidelines. No, seriously, it is
Guidelines,
absolutely ridiculous. Whenever people worry about stuff like this, grammatically perfect this, perfect that, perfect, you don't get
And they're like
shit
this with
done.
my notebook. They're like, oh, look at me, I've got my pinky out, look at my teacup, and I have a blank notebook.
And the notebook remains blank because you're too perfect to write in it.
And it's dusty.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just, you never get anything done. So moving past perfectionism is a major, like it's an integral part of any form of art.
Could you imagine her artwork if she waited until now? She's like, you know, I'm just not gonna paint until I'm perfect at it.
Oh my goodness. Well, practice. Let's see, what was the phrase is practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly it. The practice. It is the same with everything else. It is the same with writing. Guess what? Our show is still not perfect, but we're still doing it and still practicing at it. We're still,
Exactly.
you know, we have a lot of, you know, upgrades to make and we got a lot of stuff to do and
But
whatever.
The thing is,
But we're
while
still
you're
gonna do it.
practicing, you're not gonna be perfect.
Exactly.
And if you publish
No
10
choice.
books, you're still practicing as long as you're writing.
And you're always
As
learning
long
and
as-
growing and there's a
I know you're
constant
still practicing.
learning,
Those knees are bent in different directions.
learning, growing and evolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like somebody told me they're like, you know, they're like, your book, you know, you can't think your book's that good. It's your first book and you're still like a developing writer. I'm like, I'm gonna be developing my writing for as long as I'm writing.
For as long as, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say for as long as.
There's
you
no
live,
reason not to like my book now.
but- Okay, well, exactly. And that's the thing, okay, as human beings.
Yeah.
What do? You graduate high school and now you are a perfect human being? Or you graduate college and now you are a perfect human being?
Yeah, really.
What makes you a perfect human being? What accomplishment level of success? Or, you know, what is it? What milestone
Yeah.
do you become a perfect human being?
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? Never. Hello.
When I went to college.
You are never done learning. You are never fully accomplished to where you are a perfect human being.
You
Exactly.
didn't get a comment.
Ever. You know when you get to be perfect? When you die. That's when you get to be perfect.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because by the time
And your life never will be perfect.
the thing is, when you're dead, you have reached the
The-
limit of
it's-
like time or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like
that
the
you
grand
had to
finale.
accomplish everything in your life.
It's the grand finale. And that's when you get to
Yeah.
be perfect and see whatever else there is.
Yeah.
Because there's, yeah, absolutely there's no milestone, no level of success, no anything in this lifetime to where we are done growing and learning.
Exactly. So
Period.
it's like when
I don't care what anybody says.
they said that, I was just like,
Yeah,
First off, it was a 13-year-old told me that.
Oh, that's great.
I forgot about that part, yeah. 13-year-old told me, who was 17 at the time, that it was silly to like my own book because it was my first book and it wasn't gonna go down in history or anything. I'm like, it's gonna go down in history as my first book.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. It's your first work. It's yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I will always be, developing my writing as long as, doing that. Same with her paintings.
Mhm.
Like when she was younger, her paintings were not like perfect.
No, they
They
most
were
certainly
I was
weren't.
like, yeah, like at that time, the first tiger that I did was that
Yeah,
was
it
my
was
first like big painting.
Yeah,
It was, little,
yeah, and then,
it's not definitely not perfect.
yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
You're allowed to still like it. You're
Even
still
saying
allowed to be
about
like,
the,
hey, this is one of my paintings. This is, I like
What
this.
do you say after all that you found out the spot that didn't have
Okay.
anything in it or something?
I'll have to post the other owl I did. It's just like this one. I
Mhm.
don't have it anymore.
Wait,
I have a
remember?
picture of it.
Remember that frog picture you drew when you were like 10? I still like that.
I really do too. The tree frog.
No, the one with
No.
the sailor hat.
Oh, the
I
sailor
love
hat.
that.
Oh, okay, I don't remember that
But
one.
you know what?
I'm thinking this. the
You were a
tree frog.
developing artist, and it's not perfect.
You were 10
Well,
years
see this, I also just pointed out the legs are going two different directions, but it's a kelpie, so it's kind of on the magic side, so it doesn't.
Oh
matter
yeah, so
anyway.
that's an excuse. So
Yeah, it's a magic kelpie. It's a lot. One leg's going this way while the other one's going this way.
It's not. Did you say it's a magic kelpie?
Yeah, kelpies are magic.
as opposed to
A non-magic kelpie.
Exactly. Well, actually, the thing with kelpies, anyway, is that their legs are.
Did you know that your feet are on my chair?
yes,
Just checking.
absolutely. I'm
So,
like holding myself
yeah.
up because I'm leaning.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, because that's what I do. Because I know, despite like popular belief, I am an imperfect human being.
Despite her popular belief, she is a human.
Actually, one of my most difficult things is actually like admitting I'm human. So I don't like being human.
Why? You're understandable.
Yeah, it's that elvish quality. I mean, it's really hard to
Yeah, it's like-
admit that I have a human side too.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, that's-
I'm not gonna lie.
And Ron and everybody, like, they weren't exactly like perfect either.
Oh yeah, the elves weren't actually perfect either. If you read the, somewhere
I
and
know,
stuff.
but we're not going to say that.
Why does it offend your elvish pride?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes, so that's the reason all this
How dare you.
for a while.
Yeah.
How long we went?
Oh, we better stop it pretty soon. Okay, we're done. Speaking of imperfection and stuff like that, and saving time and money and whatever the hell I don't remember. That was
Basically, like,
yeah, and,
Oh,
Take perfectionism, wrap it up in a cute little box, and throw it out the window.
and do your best.
A perfect
And
box.
yes, a perfect
With a perfect little bow.
yes, and just simply do your best in everything, and don't worry about what other people think, and focus on being yourself rather than being perfect, because people will like you more, and you could be inspiring others
Exactly.
by not being perfect
Yeah, and just doing it anyway.
and doing it anyway. Exactly.
That's really what counts.
Well, that's what inspires everybody anyway. It's like
yeah, really.
Exactly.
anything
Like
that's
where
perfect is
inspiration-
not
yeah,
inspiration.
exactly. I mean, let's take a look at, people always say, being brave is not, that you're not afraid, it's that you're doing something in spite of being afraid.
Right.
It's the same thing with like doing your best, is like, it doesn't mean you're perfect, it means you're doing something in spite of not being perfect.
Exactly.
And
Thank
you're gonna
you.
make your
That's-
best go.
That is so perfect.
See.
All
All right.
the heroes in all the books.
Exactly, that's the whole point, is you're
They
doing your
did
best
their
in
best
spite of
and-
it.
Yeah.
In spite of, yes.
Whatever is wrong or like, that's,
Yes.
yeah.
That is a perfect way to say it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right. All right. We're gonna close out. Have a wonderful day. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
You're a perfect